I want to let you know that today there's something special going on. In the very last segment of the show, if you stick around, we're going to give you an opportunity to win $10,000. And that's not fake money. That's not play money. That's real money. $10,000 in cash coming your way. If you listen until the end of the show, I want everyone to pay attention because there's an opportunity coming to you. Now, before we go any further, I do want to let everybody also know that we do have a sponsor. It's sportstradingsystems.com. You can go check out Sports Trading Systems to learn how to trade stocks just like other people trade sports like other people trade stocks. Coming on the show right now, zooming into the show right now, flying in that amazing. Let me see that sweater, man. What are you wearing there? Is that a cat?
It is. Yeah.
That's a cat with a Christmas hat. All right.
Yeah. Is that adorable?
They call him the Charm City Cash Cow.
Yeah.
He's also known as Mr. Winter Solstice.
Well,
Michael Schuessler's in the house.
Michael,
what's up, buddy?
Oh, not too much, John. It's a beautiful Wednesday here. Christmas season is upon us, the holiday season. As you can see on the screen, we got some Christmas NBA games coming up. First, the opening day was last night. Two excellent matchups there. You got any Christmas plans?
I feel like I'm interviewing the Grinch right now.
Really?
It's like the Grinch who stole Christmas with that shirt. It's like, bang.
This shirt is adorable. And it's so soft and
Okay.
smooth. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
Nice and warm.
This is a sports show, bro.
Yeah.
You're literally okay, listen. This is a sports show. We don't use words like adorable on the sports show. Okay.
Depends on who the host is, I guess.
All right, I guess so. All right. Anyway, speaking of which, Michael's also the host of the Fantasy Fallout podcast that happens right here on this same network. Michael, what do you got for us today? Christmas Day's coming up. Christmas Days, and we want to make some money. Oh, someone likes your sweater.
You're damn right they like it. Like I said, this is a great sweater. But
This guy's name is Jack Sparrow. He's probably a plant.
Do you know who Jack Sparrow is, John?
He's the guy from the boat movie.
Fair enough. We'll give it to you. Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
So, there you go. Now,
is this your burner account? Is Jack Sparrow your burner account? You're like, Michael's got great hair.
Speaking of Kevin Durant, though, and the Christmas Day NBA plays. So there are 5 games on Christmas Day for the NBA. And they're all going to be primetime slots. You'll be able to watch them on either TNT, TBS, Fox, ABC. All of these games will be on, regular television. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one player from each of these 5 games that I think is an absolute lock in daily fantasy, or will just outperform the rest of the players in that game. So for the first game, it's the New Orleans Pelicans at the Miami Heat. Miami Heat obviously lost to the Los Angeles Lakers in last year's NBA Finals in the bubble in Orlando. But the player that I love in this game, none other than Zion Williamson. Okay, Mr. Point per minute is going to be his nickname because that's what he does. And not only does he score a point per minute, he has no minutes restriction this year. And he's just fully let loose. All right. That's what Stan Van Gundy said. They're going to let him do whatever he wants and get the ball in his hands more. He had 26 points and 11 rebounds in his first preseason game, and then 31 and 9 in his second. All right. Now they've only played 2. And I think he just goes absolutely off. Zion is one of the most exciting players in the NBA. He's extremely explosive. We talk about him all the time. I love him in NBA fantasy for season long. He's a first-round pick, I think. And in daily, he's an absolute lock for this game. I don't think there's anyone on the Heat that can guard Zion.
Yeah, listen, he's a beast. I'm not sure there's anybody in the entire NBA that can guard this guy. I mean, he's an absolute positive beast. So it would be exciting to see what he's going to be able to do this year. Yeah,
absolutely. So we're all excited to check out Zion. So that's the first game. The second game on this slate is a huge matchup. It's the Golden State Warriors against the Milwaukee Bucks. It's Steph Curry versus Giannis. These are 2 of the marquee players in the NBA. My favorite player in the league, my favorite player in this game has got to be Steph Curry. Okay? He's got to carry this Warriors team like he did last night. I mean, they lost to the Nets, but Curry was really the spark of that team. He is that entire team with Draymond Green out, who was out last night. Klay Thompson, who's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
and
that hurts.
Of course it does. But Curry for fantasy is going to be crucial just because he has to do everything. He had 20 points and 10 assists last night in the loss, and he's going to have to do everything every game. So I think he drops 30 points on this Bucks team that gave up top 3 in the league on giving up 3-pointers last year on their perimeter defense. I think Steph Curry goes off. I'm not going to say that the Warriors win this game. I think the Bucks, will handily win the East for the 3rd time in a row. But I do love Steph Curry for fantasy. 30+ points on Christmas Day.
Well, look, if you look at that team this year, I mean, this is literally Steph Curry's team. I mean, he is the undoubted, not that he's not one of the best scorers in the NBA anyway, but he's the guy this year. There's nothing to slow him down from being the guy. So I find it hard to look at that team and not think to myself, he might score 30 every game. He might have a James Harden type of year where he just guns the hell out of the ball.
He's going to have to just to keep his team relevant. And he has no problem doing that. He has no problem throwing up 10 to 15 3-pointers a game. And that's what you need as a fantasy owner, a team that's going to be probably losing more often than not and needing to come back with big shots. We all know Steph Curry is one of the biggest shot makers in the NBA. Probably the best shooter that we've ever seen in the history of basketball. So the next game.
And real quick, he'll have the ball in his hand all the time too.
Of course. James Wiseman, though, he looked exciting. I mean, he looked very promising for a guy who hasn't played in over a year. I mean, he only played in 3 games in his college career. So he looked great for the Warriors. I think he's going to be a great fantasy player as well. The 3rd game on the Christmas slate is the Brooklyn Nets at the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, that's a good game.
It's going to be a great game. Yeah, my favorite player in this game, it's Kevin Durant. Okay. He was the best player on the planet the last time that he was healthy in the 2019 NBA Finals. Of course, he tore his Achilles and the rest
year off.
What's that?
Whole year off.
It was more than a year off. But Kevin Durant, did you watch that game last night? The dude hasn't missed a beat. He was responsible. He scored or assist on 10 of the Nets' first 13 points last night. And like I said, he was the best on the planet the last time he was healthy. He very well may be the best on the planet again now that he's back. He's not even at 100%. He said he's in the 90 to 95 percentile for his health. But God, this guy is just absolutely unstoppable. I mean, he's 7 feet tall and he can just pull up from the top of the key and hit 45% from the 3-pointer. He can also drive on anyone. His Achilles clearly not bothering him that much. He had 18 months of rehab, which is twice as much as most players get when they come off an injury like that. I love Kevin Durant, not only as a player, but for fantasy. And I love him against the Celtics. There's no one on the Celtics that can guard him.
I look at that team and I think to myself that I'm not sure that there's ever been 2 more emotionally damaged superstars to play together before.
Kyrie and KD.
Oh, they're both just so incredibly weird. I don't know if you saw the interview last night as KD's leaving the court and Charles Barkley was interviewing him. And Charles Barkley goes into this long-winded question of like, how are you feeling? And you think you're feeling all right and blah, blah. And he goes in the whole thing. And KD, who's not even looking at the camera, has like a hoodie over his head. He's looking down at the ground while he's answering all the questions, answers the question and goes, yeah. and the NBA studio's like, okay. And then they start making jokes about, it's loud there. Even though there's no crowd.
There's no fans. There's no fans there.
Yeah, so, he's just such a weirdo. And I mean, Kyrie's like weird on like another level, but KD comes in right underneath him. And my point is, when you have an insecure weirdo like that, who has a lot of people doubting him, it's either going to make him completely snap and lose his mind, or it's going to drive him to be an even better player. And I think if you think he was great before, if he can get to that 95 to 100% range, he may be even better this year.
I completely agree. And you brought up how insecure he is. I mean, that's just a fact. He was exposed with his Twitter burner accounts where he was arguing, that KD is relevant and he didn't have to go to Golden State to win a championship. He chose to, and all this nonsense. He clearly is insecure. But I think, like you just mentioned, that insecurity we've seen that only drive him further to be better. And he's only gotten better every year that he's played in the league. I don't see that stopping. Love KD.
All right, who else you got for Christmas Day?
Okay, there's 2 more games on Christmas Day. The next one is the Mavericks at the Los Angeles Lakers. And I already said Steph Curry is my favorite player. I can't just say that to everyone, but I mean, Luka Doncic, God, I love this kid. I mean, he's just as exciting, if not more so, than Zion, than KD, than Steph Curry, because watching Luka play is like watching a player in slow motion where you almost know what he's going to do. You know he's going to do that little step back between the legs, pop back for a 3. You know what's coming. The defense knows it's coming. It's not even happening that fast, but there's nothing that anyone can do to stop it. And it's beautiful, that high arc on the ball. He also has, some of the best IQ in the game, maybe beside LeBron James, who recently was gushing about how much he loves Luka. And he loves Luka because Luka plays with the joy that LeBron plays with. LeBron essentially sees himself in Luka. And LeBron said on this interview, I think it came out maybe a couple of days ago. I forget what show it was on. I think it was it's Showtime with Mimi or something like that. Anyway, he sat down in the interview and he said that he was trying to sign Luka to be his first superstar under the Team LeBron Nike, sort of umbrella. So,
wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, Luka signed with Jordan, but LeBron was trying very hard apparently to get Luka under his wing and kind of, get that branding surrounding him. So if LeBron James, who has the greatest basketball IQ that we've probably seen in the last 20, 30 years, if he's all in on Luka, I mean, we got to be too, right?
Yeah, in my mind, I had this video. I had this picture of LeBron, and he's standing there, and he's on TV, and he's saying, "Oh, LeBron like Luka because Luka good player." I don't know why he's talking like that. It's just in my head. He's doing it. It's got like a Russian accent. He's talking about Luka. I don't know what the hell the deal is. He's just so fake that he would probably do that.
LeBron's quite intelligent, so I don't know about that. I know you do.
LeBron. He's just incredibly fake.
But
he's incredibly fake. But you're right about Luka. Luka's going to be a superstar in this league. There's no doubt about it. Barring any injury, that kid could very well be the new face of the NBA. So, and it's going to be controversial. It's going to be one of those things, and people are not going to be happy about it when it happens. Just so you know, people are not going to welcome that with open arms.
Why? Because he's European?
Because he's European. He's not an American. He's not an American. It's going to be a problem because the NBA is considered an American sport. And when you start having this crossover, people are like, "Oh yeah, crossover's great," until they realize that you become better than them, and then it becomes a problem. So and he's a good-looking kid. There's a lot of things to hate about Luka. He's really nice. He's a good-looking kid. There's no flaw in his game. He's going to be that guy. What is this? John tried to impersonate LeBron, but did Sylvester Stallone instead. That was not Sylvester Stallone. That was like LeBron and Arnold had a baby or something.
You bring up the international appeal of the NBA, and that's a good point. But let's remember, Giannis just won back-to-back MVPs, and he's from Greece. So I think a lot of people forget that Giannis is from Greece, and I mean, if you want to just leave the. If you want to just talk about why, it's because he's not white. So people think of Greeks as white people. So, sure.
And or at the very least, olive skinned. So when you first hear that Luka's even Greek, you're like, really? He's black. So it throws a lot of people off. People that don't travel a lot are especially like most Americans don't ever leave their home state. So the statistics show that most Americans never go anywhere. So people aren't very traveled. So especially now there's COVID, no one's going anywhere. So you don't get to see anything.
Do you know where Luka's from, by the way, John?
I know it's Greece, but I
don't know where that's Giannis. Giannis is from Greece.
Oh, Luka.
Yeah.
Isn't Luka German?
No, he's Slovenian.
Oh, he's Slovenian.
Yes.
Slovenian.
But anyway, he's European.
The Slovs are good ball players.
One of them is at least. All right. Anyway, Maybe we'll have to cut that out. I don't know. We'll have to see our European listeners. We might get some emails about that, but you said it, not me. I don't know what you can say anymore. It's 2020.
Sounds terrible though, doesn't it? It sounds like super offensive when you're like, "Hey, it's a Slove over there." It's like, "Oh, that sounds terrible."
Slovak.
No, wait, it wasn't I forgot. He just blanked out. He played for the Bulls. Wasn't he from the Slovenia?
Oh, the guy who came in that they embarrassed in the
yeah. He's like a famous guy. What the hell's his name?
Yeah. Tony Kukoc.
Tony Kukoc. Wasn't he Slovenian?
I'm not sure.
Considering we couldn't think of his name a second ago, I doubt we're going to figure out what. I'm sorry. Here you go. Lance just helped us out.
Yep.
Kukoc is from Croatia.
I did say that. I did say that before the.
Did you? I think it's like the
same.
Thing.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think Croatia and Slovenia are like the same. They were all split up somehow, and then they came together. And
I'm very sorry to our European listeners out there. John doesn't mean that. Okay, we all know you're completely different.
And this is Lauri Markkanen. What the hell does this mean? Lauri Markkanen.
He's plays for the Heat.
Oh, Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, I don't know where he's from, but maybe he's saying he's also Slovenian, or maybe he was trying to guess who you were talking about. But it was Tony Kukoc, of course.
All right. So at the end of the day, the Slovs are good players, and that's pretty much what we've established.
Okay, sure.
Sorry. Okay. So let's hear. I think you said you have one last pick for us, right?
I have one more. This is the last.
Michael
game
just wants to get off the screen with me. He's like you're offending like in the entire European nation. I just want to be off the screen. Get me off the screen.
Millions of listeners in Europe right now that are shutting this off. But listen,
by the way, the comments made by me are in no way representative on how Michael Schuessler feels. And I will leave his address in the comments below.
Okay. Thank you. Now, there's one more game on Christmas night. Okay. It is the Los Angeles Clippers at the Denver Nuggets. This will probably be a 10 o'clock start time. So, everyone's probably tired from partying all day. It's Christmas, or who knows. But I think Nikola Jokic was another European player. He is going to be the top fantasy scorer in this game. I think he's going to have at least 10 assists. He's one of the best passers that we've seen. Him and LeBron are up there, especially for a center, being as big as Jokic is. His ability, to find the open player and just his court vision is so impressive. It's one of the first things you notice with a guy who's that size and, that kind of slow, that he's able to make these kind of, incredible plays. But he averaged 20, 10, and 7 last year. That's 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. I think those assist numbers only go up because of how, Jamal Murray is also stepping into his own as one of the premier scorers in the NBA. So that's only going to help out Jokic's assist numbers. He is a first round pick in fantasy basketball because of the center position being as thin as it is.
Yeah.
He's probably the top fantasy point scoring center that we'll see this year. And I'm really interested to see who the Clippers are going to cover him with. It could be Serge Ibaka, who, over the last 5 years was one of the best defenders in the NBA. It could be the rookie Daniel Otoru. It could even be Zubac, who they got from the Lakers 2 years ago. But none of those guys really scare me as a defender on the 7 foot, 280-pound Jokic with that incredible vision. So Jokic is my top scorer for that contest.
All right, awesome. So let's just real quick before you leave, can you name off the players that you're recommending? Absolutely. By the way, guys, if you just joined us, this is Michael Schuessler. They call him the Charm City Cash Cow. He has made me personally thousands of dollars this year playing fantasy football. He is a fantasy guru, and he's telling us his picks for Christmas Day. If you missed it, you can catch it on the wrap-up. But Michael's just going to tell us the list of players right now. These players must be on your daily fantasy for Christmas Day. Fire away.
That is exactly right. Unfortunately, DraftKings nor FanDuel actually have their prices out right now for Christmas Day, but you should be able to at least get 4 out of these 5, depending on the salary that you go with. Here's my 5. Zion Williamson, lock. Steph Curry, he's a lock. Kevin Durant, best player on the planet. Luka, this year's MVP. And then Nikola Jokic, best center in the league. That is my core 5 for Christmas.
He's the Charm City Cash Cow. His name is Michael Schuessler. He appears on his own show every Tuesday and Thursday, which is called the Fantasy Fallout. Mm-hmm. And he also writes articles for us over on whatsonsports.com. If you want to learn more about fantasy football, more about fantasy basketball, if you want to increase your opportunity to make more money, you've got to follow the Charm City Cash Cow. Michael, thank you for being on the show today.
Of course. Thanks for having me, John.
Touchdown!